No, that's how we're able to enter.
Number one, no, that's not what it says, 1 but 2. So, Yazar, we just read a prophecy, right, in the book of, what book was that? Jeremiah? Ezekiel, right? That's the word of Yahawah, right or wrong? The prophecy of Ezekiel that you just said you couldn't argue with, is that the word of Yahawah?
I got to respond to the comment. Ellen Collins, I'm not really establishing I'm establishing grades right now.
No,
okay?
That I would disagree with that wholeheartedly. But again, Ezekiel, is that the word of Yahawah that we read in Ezekiel?
Yes.
Okay, cool, great. Is what you're reading in Hebrews the word of Yahawah?
Absolutely.
How is it? Does it say, thus saith the Lord after that?
This is, well, you haven't answered the question about who wrote Hebrews.
I'm not saying that I know who wrote Hebrews. What I'm saying is Hebrews is not the word of Yahawah, though.
Okay.
So we know Ezekiel is. So if there's, and now again, we gave an explanation as to what Hebrews was talking about. But if there's any confusion, what are we going to side with? The word of Yahawah, or a book that we're not even sure who the exact author of it is?
You're going to decide with Yahweh.
What I'm saying is Hebrews is not the word of Yahawah, though. What I'm saying is Hebrews is not the word of Yahawah, though. What I'm saying is Hebrews is not the word of Yahawah, though.
Shalom. As always, first I want to give all the praises and the glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawah Bahasham, Barakah, Kadash, double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the fellow Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters that have been edified by the truth of the scriptures of who we are, the true children of Israel, and who the other nations are. The praises and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus Christ. So, as you can see, Chief High Priest Elazar says Hebrews is not the word of Yahawah. So, the grounds for him saying that is because he says the book of Hebrews does not say, thus says the Lord. All right? As you heard, he says, he asks a question here. He says, where is it? Hold on. Let's play it again.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly. But again, Ezekiel, is that the word of Yahawah that we read in Ezekiel?
Yes.
Okay, cool, great. Is what you're reading in Hebrews the word of Yahawah?
Absolutely.
How is it? Does it say, thus saith the Lord after that?
He's asking. He says, does it say, thus says the Lord after that? So if it doesn't say, thus says the Lord, it's not the word of Yahawah, according to Chief High Priest Elazar, the head of Sicarii. So we're going to quickly, and I ain't going to spend long on this, we're going to quickly look at the evidence of that. If it doesn't say, thus says the Lord, whether or not it is the word of the Most High, Yahawah, or not. Because according to Elazar, if it doesn't say, thus says the Lord, it's not the word of Yahawah. All right? So he disclaims the book of Hebrews, which is another book of the book of Apostle Paul. As he heard before, he believes the words of Apostle Paul are not authoritative, meaning they're not reliable, not trustworthy, so we can't use them, according to Chief High Priest Elazar. Also, he's saying, unless it says, thus says the Lord, it is not the word of Yahawah, according to High Priest Elazar. So, if we was to go by what he says, this is what I did. I ain't going to spend long on this, right? I did a quick search, right, in the Bible, right? Everywhere where it says, thus says the Lord, right? In the blue letter Bible, right? Quick search. I said, I'm not going to spend long on this, right? So, did a search on that, and as you can see, it brought up everywhere where it says, thus says the Lord in the Bible. So I wanted to start with some very important books in the Bible that we all teach and preach, and we know it, and we all know it to be the word of the Most High. All right. So I clicked on between 2 Kings and Isaiah, all right, to see if there's any books missing between 2 Kings and the book of Isaiah where it would say where thus says the Lord is not actually written in those books, right? So, as you can see, 2 Kings chapter 22, right? And it says unto them, thus says the Lord, the power of Israel, tell the man that sent you to me, Thus says the Lord, behold, I will bring evil upon this place and upon the inhabitants thereof, even all the words of the book which are in which the king of Judah has read. So, 2 Kings 22, right? And we're going to scroll down. So I thought, oh, Chronicles, Book of Chronicles. We can see it says it in the Book of Chronicles. And then from Chronicles, it jumps to Isaiah, chapter 7, verse 7. So, according to High Priest Eleazar's logic, every book between 2 Chronicles, chapter 34, and Isaiah, chapter 7, it's not the word of the Most High. It's not the word of YAHAWAH, because it doesn't say, thus says the Lord, in any of the books between 2 Chronicles chapter 34 and Isaiah chapter 7. All right. Now, if I was to just show you what books come in between that, right? What books comes in between 2 Chronicles? Let's see if we can bring it up here on the screen, all right? What books comes in between 2 Chronicles chapter 34 and the book of Isaiah, right? Chapter 7. Let's just have a quick look, right? So 2 Chronicles, right? This is it here. 2 Chronicles chapter 34, right? So according to Eleazar's logic, then the book of Ezra is not the word of the Most High. The book of Nehemiah is not the word of the Most High. The book of Esther is not the word of the Most High. The book of Job is not the word of the Most High. The book of Psalms is not the word of the Most High. The book of Proverbs is not the word of the Most High. The book of Ecclesiastes is not the word of the Most High. The book of the Songs of Solomon is not the word of the Most High. All right. So all of those books, he's going to have to remove from his itinerary, because none of those books it says, thus says the Lord. All right. So he can only start using the Bible then, according to his logic, from the book of Isaiah chapter 7. All right. So between Genesis and Chronicles, he can use it, and then he's got to go all the way to Isaiah chapter 7 to be able to use that in terms of prophesying and preaching and trustworthy, because it doesn't say thus says the Lord in any of those books in between 2 Chronicles chapter 34 and Isaiah chapter 7. So then I thought, let's do a little bit more digging, right? So from Isaiah, it goes to from Isaiah to, where is it? From Isaiah, it goes to Jeremiah, Ezekiel. Then it goes from Ezekiel to Zechariah. All right. So let's have a quick look between Ezekiel and Zechariah. So Ezekiel. Then it goes to Amos, Obadiah, Micah, Nehemiah, Haggai, Zechariah. From Zechariah to Malachi. All right. That's the last place. So what books have we missed out? Let's have a quick look again. From Zechariah to Malachi. So we saw it said Amos, we saw it, Obadiah. We didn't see the book of Jonah. So he's going to have to discard the book of Jonah. Let's just quickly go back. Let's just quickly check that. All right. Ezekiel, Amos, Obadiah, Micah, then Nehemiah. Obadiah, Micah, then Nehemiah. Obadiah. So Jonah, we're going to have to miss. Micah's there. Nehemiah's there. All right. Let's go back. Haggai's there. Zechariah is there, right? So Nehemiah. So Habakkuk, we're going to have to disregard. It doesn't say thus says the Lord. Zephaniah, we're going to have to disregard, because it doesn't say thus says the Lord. Haggai we saw, Zechariah we saw, Malachi we saw. What other books did we not see? The book of Daniel doesn't say thus says the Lord in the book of Daniel, because it went from Ezekiel to Amos, right? Let's just quickly go back and check. It went from Ezekiel, straight to the book of Amos. So, what books did it miss out with? It doesn't say, thus says the Lord. It doesn't say it in the book of Daniel. It doesn't say in the book of Hosea. It doesn't say in the book of Joel. So, he's going to have to disregard those books as not being the word of the Most High. Because according to his logic, Alazar's logic, if it doesn't say, thus says the Lord, it's not the word of the Most High. So, he's going to have to disregard Daniel as not being authoritative and trustworthy. Hosea, Joel, as well, alongside all these other books that we just said: Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, Psalms, Proverbs. Now, what makes this even more crazy, what this guy is teaching and preaching, Malachi is the last book where it says, thus says the Lord. All right? Malachi is the last word, the last book where it says, thus says the Lord. So does that mean he disregarded the whole New Testament then? It doesn't say thus says the Lord anywhere in the New Testament. So is the words that are taught in the New Testament, are they not the word of the Most High? Did not YAHAWAH come in the name of his Father? I mean, I don't understand his logic, his whole teaching. I truly don't understand what is he actually trying to establish here. But it doesn't say it nowhere in the New Testament neither. Now, I even thought, let me just get rid of the word thus and say, saith the Lord. Is there any different where it says, saith the Lord? Chronicles. It jumps from a Chronicles. So one book of Psalms, it says, saith the Lord. One book of Psalms, Psalms 12. Then we go to Isaiah. So we have to disregard everything between Chronicles and Isaiah except for Psalms chapter 12. If we was even just going by, saith the Lord, all right? Same thing again. We go from there all the way. Let's go to Ezekiel. Ezekiel again. Same again. Ezekiel jumps to Hosea. Hosea, Joel, Amos. So you could, there's 3 books in Hosea, 1 book in Joel where it says, says the Lord. Amos, no book of Daniel. Book of Daniel is not there at all. Habakkuk, let's see if Habakkuk even turns up. Obadiah is there, few books. You can use Obadiah, Malachi, Nehemiah, Zephaniah, chapter 1 and chapter 2 and chapter 3. Haggai. Let's see where it goes. Zechariah. I think it goes from Zechariah straight to Malachi. So no Habakkuk. So it's literally the same again. 1 or 2 books exception. 1 book in Psalms, a couple of books in Joel. But by going by his logic, using thus says the Lord, he's literally Xing out all of the New Testament, just going by his logic, all right? Now, if we want to give him the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, we're going to give you the books where the Lord is speaking directly, YAHAWAH, which would be in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, all right, where we know the Lord is speaking directly. The Lord speaks in a couple of books of Revelations, I think it's 1 and 2 directly, and there's references to the Lord's words in Acts. Even if we was to give him, he doesn't even believe in the words of the Apostle Paul being authoritative. Acts is written by the Apostle Luke, which he was taught by Paul. So we know he doesn't regard any of the books of the Apostle Paul, which would be Acts, Romans, Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, Thessalonians. Then you got the book of Timothy, Titus. I can never pronounce that word. Philonium. I can't never pronounce it. Hebrews, James. I mean, it doesn't say thus said Lord in any of these books. So what is his whole logic? I just don't understand any of his logic. And I really would like for him to respond, someone in Sicarii to respond. What is his whole logic? If it doesn't say thus says the Lord, as we've just quite clearly showed you, half of these books in the Bible don't say thus says the Lord. So he's telling you, if it doesn't say thus says the Lord, it's not the word of the Most High. So the book of Daniel can't be the word of the Most High. All of these books here, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job can't be the word of the Most High. Psalms, Only one book we found it in, if that. Proverbs can't be the word of the Most High. All of these books here, Ecclesiastes, Songs of Solomon, can't be the word of the Most High. Lamentation can't be the word of the Most High. Daniel, one of the most profitable books, one of the most great prophets of the Bible, can't be the word of the Most High. Joel can't be the word of the Most High. Hosea, Habakkuk can't be the word of the Most High. And literally 2/3 of the book of the New Testament can't be the word of the Most High, because they don't say, thus says the Lord. So what is Chief Priest Alazar's logic in all of this? Total madness. But that's what he is teaching. That's exactly what he's teaching. And
You haven't answered the question about who wrote Hebrews. That's
Does it say, thus saith the Lord after that?
This is, well, you haven't answered the question
does it say, thus says the Lord after the word of that?
about who wrote Hebrews. That's
Well, I'm not saying that I know who wrote Hebrews. What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, Hebrews is not the word of Yahawah, though.
Okay. Ezekiel, yes.
So we know Ezekiel is. So if there's, and now again, we gave an explanation as to what Hebrews was talking about. But if there's any confusion, what are we going to side with? The word of Yahawah, or a book that we're not even sure who the exact author of it is?
The side with Yahweh.
What I'm saying is, Hebrews is not the word of Yahawah, though. What I'm saying is, Hebrews is not the word of Yahawah, though. What I'm saying is, Hebrews is not the word of Yahawah, though.
As you can see, okay, it doesn't say, thus says the Lord. Anyway, I'm going to finish it there. I didn't even need to bring out any scriptures, but I just really want to bring that up again, and that pray you are edified. Sicarii, please respond. Does it say, thus says the Lord? As you said, Hebrews is not the word of Yahweh, because it doesn't say, thus says the Lord, where nearly half of the books in the Bible don't say, thus says the Lord neither. Anyway, so YAHAWAH, YAHAWAH, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. All praises and glory.